I would say.
What did he, I guess the point I'm trying to make is, did he tell you, let's just get down to this Dr. Lee, this Dr. Lee deal, where you asked him about some things that were these marks that were on his feet already?
Yes, on his hands, and so lots of IV sites, and he had veins that were sclerotic. So I asked him what was he getting, and he told me that he was seeing a Dr. Lee who was giving him a special cocktail for fleshing his body and supposed to give energy. And Dr. Lee had stated that she, never met her, that she worked with the Lakers during the times they won the championship, and her cocktail was so good for giving the team energy. And I said, well, what's in the cocktail? He said, I don't know, but he remembered one name, which I think was melothione. I don't remember, but I knew it was an amino acid in there. And I said, well, could you find from Dr. Lee exactly what the cocktail is? Because I'd like to review it. I'm not sure if it's good for you, because I'm finding that as young as you are, your veins are all being sclerotic. His veins are becoming cords, like filled with clots, and dried up. And you can barely find sites for an IV. That's why you have to see me looking for something on his leg or something like that. His hands, all sclerotic from too much use of IV over time. Then he told me that after a while, he never got me the information, but he did tell me when I joined him regularly. I said, what's the story with you and Dr. Lee and what's happening? He said, oh, we got rid of her. I said, what happened? He said, well, she was unprofessional. I said, why was she unprofessional? He said she just called one day when he was expecting her. She said her child had gotten sick and she had taken him to the urgent care and she couldn't make it, so she didn't come. I said, well, that's reasonable. You know, you have children too. And if that could be real, but he felt that the doctor did not tell him the truth. So he was upset and told her not to come back. I believe she was not seen again. That's Dr. Lee. So I don't know exactly what was in her cocktail, but she was giving him...
Or if it was a cocktail.
Whatever, but she'll give him some IV several times a week.
And was this in Las Vegas?
No, this was here locally.
Okay, so that was within the last 6 months.
Yes. Now the reason I mentioned Las Vegas, I wanted to give you another name of Dr. Adams, because he asked about the milk.
Oh, that's right.
Dr.
He mentioned that Michael mentioned the Dr. Adams that actually was in Vegas, right?
Yeah, David Adams.
Okay, and what about Dr. Adams?
I never knew Michael Jackson was coming to town. And again, not knowing that, I don't keep a record of his time. But it was sometime between March and April. And he called me. And I said, hi, how are you doing, Michael? Where are you? And he says, oh, I'm in Vegas. Really? Why here? I brought my children to see a show. I said, wow. Well, that's nice. I can't remember what show he was seeing. And I said, when are you leaving? He says, I'm leaving tomorrow. So he was just there for one night. He stayed at the Wynn Hotel. And then, after speaking with him, I hung up. Then I got another call from his assistant, Michael Lemire. And he said, Mr. Jackson wants to speak to me again. So I spoke with him. And then he asked me, he says, I'm having difficulty sleeping. I can't sleep. But I said, well, you're here just for a night of show and film. Why are you having difficulty sleeping? Can't you just sleep? And you had a long trip on the road from LA to Las Vegas. You know, you should go to bed. I said, are you going out tonight and doing anything? He said, no, I'm staying inside, but I just can't sleep. He said, could you help me to sleep? I said, well, don't you have any sleeping pill that I gave you in the past that you can use as needed? Like lorazepam or Restoril, which I had given to him before, pill form. He said, they don't work. I said, did you try them? He said, yes, Dr. Conrad, nothing works. You know, I've had pills from the doctors in Beverly Hills, and I've had medicine from Dr. Klein, who says he gave me the strongest medication, and I have medicine from Dr. Metzer, M-E-T-Z-E-R, they all don't work.
Dr. Klein, Dr. Metzger, was there another one?
Those are the names that he had mentioned. I said, I don't have anything I can offer you that would work. He said, well, what about Diprovan? Which is the other name for... Which is
brand name for Propofol.
Which is the other name
for what?
Diprovan, Diprivan, which is the other name for propofol, which is the milk.
Oh yeah, no.
So he asked me, what about Diprovan? I said, Diprovan? Why you ask that? He said, well, it works. I know it works. I said, well, that's not a medicine. You can just ordinarily put your hands on. You know, that's a medicine that you'll have to order. And I don't know anyway of how I can get that to you. So he said, so you can tell he got restless. And frustration came upon him because I couldn't satisfy him. And then he said, do you know this Dr. Adams? What's his name again, Dr. Adams? I can't remember his first name. He said he's a black doctor. He's about your height, looks like a football player. He has more weight than you. And, you know, he gave it to me before in Las Vegas several times. And, you know, he walks with his little bag. That's what he said.
And Dr. Adams gave him the milk before?
Yeah. David Adams.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I said, well, I can't help you because I don't have access to such products, and those have to be ordered, and this is the weekend, it's Sunday. So he said, you don't know him? I said, no. Do you have his number? He said, I don't know him, so I don't have a number. So he said, well, I think I can call Brother Michael, which is Mr. Amir. He said, let me call him because he has the number. So, and I'll call you back. So, within 5 minutes to 10 minutes, I got another call back from Mr. Jackson himself. And he said, this is the number, this is his name, Mr. Adams. Could you ask him if he can help me to sleep? If you can find him as a doctor to a doctor, could you call him? So I made that call. It was about, this is Sunday, the day he's supposed to be going back to Los Angeles. And this is like 2 o'clock in the day. And I thought he'd be on the road by now. He said, Mr. Adams, he said, he helped me before. He would take me to this plastic surgeon's office. And he would have come there with his bag, and he always had it, and he would start it, and he would get sleep. I said, what is the surgeon's name? He mentioned the name, but I didn't know the surgeon either. So he said he's going to make a call to the surgeon to see if Dr. Adams is available, if he could come there to help him. He would go anywhere but what was necessary. So I said, okay, go make your call. And the call was made, and what I was told by Mr. Jackson is that Michael Amir said, the surgeon or the cosmetologist, I think he is, said that today he wasn't going to let them use his office unless Mr. Jackson agreed to have some other cosmetological procedure. Yeah, which of course he would be able to get paid for using his premises, and at the same time he could be asleep while he's doing his thing. Right. So I think the doctor said if he wasn't going to make any money for a procedure, then he was going to have it done. I did call Dr. Adams, David Adams. I told him that I had never met him. Mr. Jackson said that he had worked with him before, that he had given him Diprovan for sleep, and he wanted to know if you were available to help. Dr. Adams said to me, give him 1 hour and he'll call me back. I called Mr. Jackson. I said I spoke to Mr. Adams, Dr. Adams. He told me that he may have enough of the product that you want. He's quite familiar with him because what Dr. Adams said to me, oh yeah, I know Michael very well. He always, he does well on Diprovan. He loves that drug.
Milk.
milk. He didn't call it milk, he just said he loves that drug. Milk was adopted later on when I started to work with him, I guess he started to call it milk. An anti-burn. So Mr. Adams could not get the cosmetologist to open his practice. So I allowed him on a Sunday to use my office, where I had oxygen, crash cart, and monitoring devices like the oximeter to use my office to treat Mr. Jackson. After Mr. Jackson got there, Dr. Adams was waiting. I brought him upstairs, I introduced myself, and I left them. I said, how long are you going to let him sleep? He told me he was going to do 5 or 6 hours. This was about 1 o'clock in the day. So I said, okay, so I'll come back around 7. And he said, yes, 7 would be good. And I came back at 7 o'clock. And I came back to my office at 7 o'clock. He had his Diprovan drip going. There was a pulse oximeter there. I had supplied oxygen for his use during the procedure. I'm not sure if it was used or not. But Dr. Adams did have an IV bag that was diluted with the agent, and he was, Mr. Jackson slept. When Mr. Jackson woke up, of course, I being his intermittent general physician, I asked him how he felt, and he said he now felt wonderful because he was able to get to sleep. I said, are you going to leave for Los Angeles tonight? He said he wasn't sure if he was leaving that night or the following day. He then surprised me that same evening, because by then he had already made the proposal to me joining his team and going to England.
He's still in Vegas now?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he had already proposed to me joining his team and going to England as his exclusive medical doctor. He then surprised me and said, his words were, this is divine guidance. And I said, what do you mean? He said, come with me. You mind? So we left the doctor in one room. I said, excuse me, doctor. And Mr. Jackson pulled me down the hall into my office on this Sunday evening. He said, Conrad, you know, when I'm on this course, when I'm on the tour, I have difficulty sleeping. And what most doctors have done for me, they help me to sleep for 15 to 18 hours because I need it. So, innocently, I wasn't thinking that he was sleeping 15 to 18 hours with assistance. I wasn't thinking that it was a regular, everyday basis. But what he saw, as I look retrospect, is that what developed quickly on that evening, his, what he called divine guidance, was to introduce to me, even before I agreed to go on his team, how about if you have another doctor join you? And I said, why would you want that? He said, because you don't quite know or understand that these hours are long. And you know, when I sleep for 15 to 18 hours, that's when I feel good enough to get it to perform. And that's what most of the doctors have done for me. And I think on you it may be too much. I didn't see it as being too much, but what Mr. Jackson knew is that this was something that he did every day. And by him having that every day, it would certainly be too much for one doctor. And I was caught sitting there, and in the sense that I said, I couldn't make a decision for you, Mr. Jackson. You will have to know best what you think. And so I sat there with Dr. Adams, and I introduced myself better, and I got to know him, and I said, I've taken care of Michael intermittently and his children, and if there's a need for a doctor, a specialist, then I usually screen them and supply what he wants. But he's asking to have 2 doctors on this team now, and I'm not sure whether or not he could afford that. I did not know.
Was he making reference to Dr. Adams?